Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about how to build an outbound sales team. How do you build an outbound sales team? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear roadmap to build and manage an outbound sales team that excels at closing deals and driving revenue. Imagine having a skilled sales outbound team who are experts at turning warm or cold leads into sales. Stick around and I'll show you how to make this vision a reality. Have you ever wondered how successful organizations continuously build outbound sales teams to foster growth and opportunity within their organization? What are the key elements that make these outbound sales teams so effective? Well, I've owned and operated commission-based sales teams for over the last 20 years, and I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. So today we're uncovering these secrets and showing you how to build an outbound sales team by diving into all things outbound sales. Like, what does that even mean? What types of sales reps should you look for? Developing a structure that is right for outbound sales, and finally, how to motivate them to perform at a high level. If you're ready, let's go. So what is an outbound sales team and what challenges do they face? An outbound sales team is a group of individuals that are dialing leads outbound. They're physically making phone calls and dialing these leads and looking to get paid based on how they perform. And the focus is obviously on outbound dialing versus receiving inbound calls. So this is a clear distinction when it comes to outbound sales versus inbound sales. And I really believe it takes a different type of sales rep to do outbound sales calls versus receiving inbound calls. And here's why. Number one, inbound sales is so much easier in my opinion, right? Rather than doing the work to outbound a sales call, you're receiving inbound calls. You're sitting at your desk and all of a sudden the calls start coming in. It's so much easier to get complacent and to receive those calls than somebody who is consistently outbound dialing to try and get a prospect on the phone that they can eventually have a conversation with. And that outbound sales rep has to continually motivate himself or herself to dial all day long to get prospects. Finding these types of reps are crucial and can take a lot of time, energy, and money to make sure that you find the right ones. Second, many times inbound sales reps receive much better leads than those reps that are dialing outbound. One of the main reasons for that is they have a 100% contact rate. If you think about it for a minute, if an inbound lead is calling you and you just pick up the phone, that is a 100% contact rate. And just by improving a contact rate by 30 or 40%, when a typical outbound contact rate is 60 to 70%, just improving that contact rate to 100%, which is what's done on an inbound call, is naturally going to raise the value of those leads and the person's going to get more sales. The challenge of continuously dialing and not getting a good prospect on the phone call can be discouraging and a challenge for any outbound sales rep. I would say probably 90% of our business in the company that I currently own is outbound sales. So I know this pretty intimately, but there is one thing that we try to do. We try to make sure that what they're outbound dialing is a lead. And when I say a lead, I distinguish that of somebody who has spent either time or money. If they've bought a product and they've invested money into a product, that is usually somebody who's invested to learning more or receiving a call. Or if they've invested time, like they've attended a seminar, they've filled out an application or a consultation to be part of something, that is somebody who's also invested time, which is a significant asset for most people. So if they've invested time or money, that's a pretty high quality lead. And that's usually what we try and get in the hands of our sales reps. So why would a rep even want to be an outbound sales rep? And what should you look for these types of reps? So many times an outbound sales reps will realize that they have the potential to make more money. Typically with an inbound sales group, the marketing team or the company spent much more money, time, energy into funnels to create something where inbound sales will come. And if that's the case, they're typically paying less on the commission associated with those inbound sales. Whereas an outbound sales rep, if you're just receiving a lead from maybe an organization or a thought leader that's giving it to your company and you have to outbound dial to get sales, typically there's more margins in those type of leads and more money to be paid out to the sales reps. So the sales reps understand that if they put in the time, the energy to outbound dial, they're going to have the potential to make more money per sale, per commission. That's one of the exciting, motivating factors of being an outbound sales rep. Second thing is these individuals, these outbound sales reps, they like a challenge. And I'm not saying that inbound sales is not challenging. It is as well. And I do believe that a good outbound sales rep would also do good on inbound sales, although I don't think the reverse is true. I don't think a good inbound sales rep necessarily could be a good outbound rep. They could. However, However, if they've been doing inbound sales for a long time, the challenge of then waiting for calls to come and creating your own calls is going to be something that takes time to overcome. And I do believe that we're getting to the point nowadays, there is technology where you can just push a button and it'll actually dial the number for you. So technology is making outbound sales a little easier, but still not as easy as just receiving calls. So whenever I've interviewed somebody to be an outbound sales rep, there's something that I found that if they have this in common, typically mean that they can be fairly good at outbound sales. And this is what it is. Anyone who has ever had to really work for something, to be part of something, to see success, is typically going to find success in outbound sales. So for example, I remember I'd interviewed this young lady, and by all intents and purposes, it did not seem like she would do well at sales at all. But she was a swimmer in high school and a very successful swimmer, and she had to put in a lot of time and energy for that. Even though she's quiet, a little bit reserved, just the fact that she knew what it took to see success made her very good on the phones in outbound sales, and she ended up being a very successful sales rep. Same thing with an individual who I thought, I don't think he'll ever do well at sales, but he had to earn his way to be the actor or the head role in a play and in theater, and he'd worked his butt off to do that. He ended up also being a great sales rep. So people who've had to work towards achieving something that they've wanted in their life usually end up being good outbound sales reps. Finally, we need to understand what and how to motivate these sales reps for success. First off, let's look at metrics that will push them. For most sales reps, they like to be in control of the metrics that they oversee, right? So metrics that they can control, a lot of times are easier for them to manage and have control over. However, that can be a fine line. Obviously, when we're talking sales, the most important metric is sales volume. But there are metrics that we can look at for reps that they do have control over, and those are activity metrics. In our organization, in our industry, it's phone time and dials. For other organizations, it might be referrals, it might be sending emails, it might be prospecting, whatever that looks like. Anything that they have control over, like an activity metric, is a great place to start. Another way to drive outcome is by daily or weekly incentives. It might be number of sales calls, it might be phone time or dials, it might be prospecting. You may need to reverse engineer your main driving metrics, sales, average sales number, sets, appointment sets, and break those down into small activities that you know will lead towards the sales or the outcome you desire. So if we're talking sales, we talk about conversions, we talk about appointment sets, appointments that show up, and we talk about the activity, the phone time, the dials, and the prospects received. One of the greatest motivating factors for outbound sales reps is actually money. So if you can find a way to incorporate money into some of those little tiny metrics or the activity metrics, and you can reward them for that, that eventually is going to lead towards the sales and the outcome that we desire. So one thing we've done in our organization, we'll do some daily spiffs, we'll do some weekly spiffs. One of the fun things we do is a putt for dough. So if somebody gets a set or if somebody has 3 hours of phone time, we'll let them putt for dough. They get 3 putts. If they hit the ball in the hole, they get some money right then and there. It's instant gratification. It's a value. It's a reward. It's an incentive that they receive immediately. We've even done things where if they hit a certain dollar amount in the week as a company or as an individual, we'll give a higher flat percentage rate on the sale. And those are things that are very motivating and exciting to sales reps as well. And I think when you're talking about managing outbound sales reps, I think anything you can do on a daily, weekly, monthly incentive or sales program or some sort of recognition is really important to boost morale and keep them engaged, because outbound sales can be challenging when you have to motivate yourself to continually dial that phone, but it can be done by including these certain metrics, understanding what motivates them, and understanding the type of structure that goes into place when managing outbound sales teams. Now, these are things that I've done in my organizations that I've seen work well for me, but I'd be interested in your feedback. What have you done to manage outbound sales teams? Please comment below. Let's engage in a dialogue. And as always, just for stopping by, I'm going to give you access to our Sales and Persuasion course. It's a 10-module course. It's normally $1,000. I'm giving it 100% for free just for stopping by and watching the video. Just click on the link below, aaronsalestraining.com. It's free, no strings attached. And once again, thanks for stopping by. Have an awesome day.